So we begin by lighting of our unity candle. We light this candle each week to remind us that that flame of the divine is in each and every one of us. We are God in expression. And I want to call us into service this morning with our crystal bowls. And we'll join together in prayer. As we pause and breathe, knowing that God is all there is. It's with great gratitude that we come together as a spiritual community this morning, and recognizing that divine presence in each one of us. I bless this time. I know that it is sacred. And I bless each person listening today, each person that will listen to this service in the future, that Spirit will bring forth the message that we each need to hear. So with great gratitude, I know that everything unfolds perfectly, and with a heart filled with joy, end this prayer and blessing, starting our service by saying, "And so it is." Welcome to the Louisville Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Rick McCollum. I'm glad you're with us today. We are having a special service today. So each week is special, isn't it? And when we get to join together, that's great. Know that we are an inclusive community and that we honor all paths to God. We recognize as a community that there are many different ways to have a relationship with the God of your understanding. So know wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you're welcome here with us. And we're glad that you're here this morning. Thank you for being part of this community. And now I would like to move to our opening song. And for this month, our opening song is called Spreading Love. Spreading Love.
Don't you feel the love is all around, in the sky and in the ground, in every single living thing, and in the song that I'm singing? There are children in the streets that have nothing to eat, yet their hearts are full of love. They are beings from above. Love's everywhere you go. All you have to do is open up your soul. Feel the love inside you grow, and take every chance you get to spread the love everywhere. Can you feel it in the air? It's spreading everywhere. Can you feel the love inside? It's spreading worldwide. With every step you take, there's pleasure, there is pain. Every being everywhere. Feel the love you share. Feel the love we share. Let it grow everywhere.
We gonna take this magical feeling, spread it around from when the sun rises till the evening. Let it touch the heart of the souls that are grieving, 'cause we rising and without you we ain't leaving.
Love is a really special thing. Can't be replaced with anything, including diamond rings and rich, wealthy kings. The offspring of a butterfly feels the love once it flies. Doesn't matter what your size, you'll feel the love inside. Now there's a thing called hate, and that's a classified mistake. There's only room for love today, so forget all the pain. Can you feel the love inside? It is spread
One at a time, one at a time. Doesn't matter your race, color or size. All I know is that when I look into your eyes, love is all I wanna spread. I realize I love you. I say that truly from my heart, 'cause I know if I don't start now, who knows when we'll depart. I have faith that our love creates a spark that starts a flame that will erase all the dark, yeah. Imagine that, dark turning to light just 'cause one of our hearts loosened up from its tight grip, so it touched the next with all its joy and brightness. And that's the story of how we ended this crisis.
Can you feel the love inside? It is spreading worldwide. With every step you take, there's pleasure, there is pain. Every being, everywhere. Can you feel the love we share? Feel the love we share. Let it grow everywhere. Can you feel the love inside? It's spreading worldwide. With every step you take, there's pleasure, there is pain. Every being, everywhere. Can you feel the love we share? Feel the love we share. Let it grow everywhere.
And now we move to our time of spiritual reading and meditation by Vicki Jeter, our practitioner of the day.
Good morning. Our theme for today is self-healing and how we then participate in the healing of our whole universe, individually and for each other. The reading today comes from the Science of Mind magazine. If we allow the world's opinion to control our thinking, then that will be our demonstration. If, on the other hand, we rise and uplift ourselves, we shall create a new pattern for the world. Listening to the news in the evenings makes it clear that we as individuals have a lot of work to do for the planet. We like to point fingers at the guilty ones. We are sure it is they and not we who are to blame as we move into greater and greater sense of separation at times. We would like to say it's not our problem. It's them, if only they would see the right point of view in divine right action. We don't like to admit that we've been part of what's creating the circumstances we see around us in the world. We don't like to acknowledge that in the deepest part of ourselves, we have our own dishonesty, our own manipulations, and our own sense of racism. These dark aspects of ourselves surface so we can clearly see where we have been. Where have we been dishonest with ourselves? We now look closely at ourselves. Where have we withheld love in the name of a difference of opinion? Where have I judged someone because of the way they look, talk, or dress? Why do I lie to myself and others to get what I think I want? Our inner world and the outer world are intimately connected and interdependent. Through our inner work, we create a shift in the outer world that we all share. It's not about fighting anything. It's about doing our own healing work within to the degree that we bring forth our light to the world. Can one person make a difference? It has been said and done for eons, time and again. Yes, one person makes the difference. Let it be you. And the affirmation, the transformation and healing of my world begins within me. Amen. And now, take a pausing breath. Just allow the atmosphere in this space, the precious velvet sense of connection, that doubtlessness that in spirit we are in the same room together right now. We're breathing the same air, drawing thought from one mind, our hearts sustained by one heart, our souls connected as the one oversoul. Right here, right now, all is well. As we enter into our meditation for today, I invite you to relax. Settle with your body, recognizing we're right here, right now. There's nowhere you need to go and nothing you have to do. It's all right for you to deeply relax. Take a moment to envision for yourself, what does healing mean to you? Is there a difference between healing and transformation? Or are they one and the same? Are they correspondent? Are they varying phases of a process that is ever unfolding within you? Just introduce healing to your mind, heart, and soul now. Taking that much deeper than knowing that it is an inside-out process. And with that in mind, find yourself surrounded in your understanding of love, acceptance, compassion. Remembering to remember that the perfect pattern for you is always in your divine nature. It's always with you. The divine pattern from which we come never changes. It is a part of that sense of connectedness to the divine that we can't possibly lose. In the human sense, we tarry from it all the time. But as you've heard said here so often, these processes don't change spirit. Spirit has our pattern, spirit has our heart, spirit has our breath. And as we allow ourselves to relax into that space, we are instantly reconnected with the divine pattern, the divine idea for our very being, for every cell in our body, for every aspect of our lives, and inherently, as we all affect each other, the entire universe in which we personally live, and each of the universes in which each of us live. They are unique and the same, all at once. So, as you relax into this space where you can feel the support around you and you entertain your idea of love, your idea of compassion and acceptance, first for yourself, ultimately, it surrounds everyone here and collectively, as Louisville Center for Spiritual Living, it extends out to everyone. For where grace is, it affects everything connected to it. And when we know that these qualities in the law of God are available at every point, every time we open ourselves to that healing for ourselves, we have opened ourselves to that healing for every seeking being on the planet. And I know right here and right now that this is extended not only to two-legged beings, but to the four-legged beings and the winged creatures and the creatures of the ocean and the insects even down to individual amoebas and molecules. Everything is aright when we align with being able to relax into knowing that the perfect pattern is there and it is a divine and blessed thing to step into it. So take a moment and imagine yourself easily and effortlessly just stepping in to the transformed world of your vision. Take another pausing breath and relax. And when you're ready, come back.
Thank you, Vicki. We are moving now into our talk for today. And for the month of May, our theme for the month is Holy, Holy Uprising. So the first holy being, we could use the word entirely, an entirely holy uprising. What would cause us to have an entirely holy uprising? As Centers for Spiritual Living, we are poised with our teaching and our tools to take humanity to a new paradigm of consciousness. We're invited to demonstrate this in our lives, in our center, throughout our community, and even throughout the world as we live our lives. But to do this, we must rise up. So we rise up in consciousness, we rise up in our vibrational energy that we bring to the world. Today, I want us to rise up in our consciousness and to touch on some topics that you might think are taboo for many social situations and certainly for many spiritual organizations. I titled today's talk, Healing Ourselves and the World. I want us to look at some of the prejudices and biases that we have within ourselves. You heard Vicki read in our spiritual reading today, where have I withheld my love in the name of a difference of opinion? Where have I judged someone based on the way they look, talk, or dress? Why do I lie to myself and others to get what I want? Those are some pretty serious questions that we get to ask ourselves. And I bet for most of us, our egos will tend to try to jump into high gear here. We want to create a mental idea that, well, I'm better than someone else. And so that ego then plays out within each of us. And it could be playing out as gender bias, a racial bias, ethnic bias, religious prejudice. These are all things that people can feel and experience within their bodies. So how do we create a new paradigm of consciousness in our world? Well, that's what we get called to in our philosophy. Part of our Centers for Spiritual Living global vision reads, we envision a world where personal responsibility joins with social consciousness in every area of the political, corporate, academic, social sectors, and providing sustainable structures to further the emerging global consciousness. You see, it used to be that we all lived within a few miles of where we were born and raised. But that has changed, hasn't it? And we find that we are a much more mobile society. And now we have become a global society and a global economy. At least when we're not dealing with shutdowns because of the pandemic. We were a society that moved throughout the world quite easily. And so we got to experience different cultures, different races, different religious beliefs, and how people interacted in those situations. Now we find ourselves in a world where we have much tragedy and senseless acts of violence. But we can make a difference when we decide to apply the spiritual teachings and tools that science of mind has offered us. Our true nature is divine. Our intelligence is the universal intelligence, and it functions at the level of our concept of it. And that's why we talk each week about doing our spiritual practice, about connecting with the God of our understanding. You see, we're made of pure spirit. Each one of us has that within us, that seed of perfection, the seed of God. However, in our ignorance of our true nature, we misuse the law, and we often bring about suffering. We suffer ourselves, and we can cause suffering for others. You heard Vicki read earlier. Listening to the news some evenings makes it clear that we, as individuals, have great work to do on the planet. We like to point fingers at the guilty ones. We're sure it is they and not we who are to blame. And that moves us into a sense of greater and greater separation. But you see, separation is just ignorance of our true nature. It's ignorance of the fact that we are one with God, and God is all there is. We are never separated from spirit. It's omnipresent. It is everywhere present, no matter what country we go to, whether it's in a city or it's remote. Spirit is always there, filling that space. It's in us, around us, pressing itself against us and living through us. When we think with a them and us mentality, that's duality. That's not oneness. Oneness is our spiritual principle and spiritual truth. So we're not living from our true nature when we're not living in oneness, when we're seeing duality. And that's what creates heartache and suffering in our world. Ernest Holmes said, "We do not suggest that to a person that he's all right when he's not all right. We try to awaken people to an inherent divinity and perfection which is in every living soul. Our whole process is a process of awakening." Are you awakening yourself on this spiritual journey? And are you helping to love others into being awake? Reverend Dr. Raymond Anderson is senior minister at CSL Greater Baltimore. I have met this gentleman. He is quite a loving, divine spirit. He's an African-American gentleman, and he happens to be a gay man. He has lived more than his share, really, of suffering, not only from his own ignorance of his true nature, but also from the prejudice and bias of others. First, because of the color of the skin, and then, second, when people learn that he is a gay man. He's been on his own spiritual journey for years, and he has been awakening to his true nature. And this awakening for him has created much healing within himself, and it makes a difference in the world. I read a post that Reverend Dr. Raymond put on Facebook, and it provided me with some food for thought. I hope you will get something from his quote. He said, I hear people say everything happens for a reason. It is the will of God, the universe. God's ways are not our ways. And other nice, neat quotes. But Dr. Raymond says the thing is, these phrases direct us to a power that is external as the determining force and factor in our lives. He said our discomfort with the mystery, with the unknown, and the unexplainable can cause us to resort to the short, sweet Band-Aid responses to tragedy and pain, rather than allowing that to invite us into a deeper, more intimate conversation with it. He said, suppose we simply say, I don't know why that happened. Yes, terrible things happen, and there is nothing I can say that will explain it, rationalize it, or make the pain hurt any less, and leave it at that. Saying something like that, I don't know why this happened, rather than, I don't know why, but God does. The universe knows why, and it's all good. When we do that, it's spiritual bypass. And so Dr. Raymond is saying, when we try to minimize a person's experience, when they're feeling pain, and we tell them things like your mom's death, your brother's murder, the countless number of lives lost due to war, floods, or hurricanes, whatever, that serves a purpose. And that is determined by a higher power, and it's all good. He says, it's not all good. If it were all good, then why bother changing anything? Why not just let the murders happen, the suffering go on, the pain occur, and the injustices continue? But as awakened spiritual beings, we want to understand, we want to help. He said, because we understand the pain, the suffering, and death is not for a reason, that it serves or benefits in a way that we tend to suggest, then it's not good. He said, what is good and what does serve a purpose is our choice to heal the conditions, our choice to be with those who mourn, our choice to treat and move our feet, to be called into action. It's our choice to engage that creative process of the divine to work through us to help create a world that works for all. When we have incidents like even this last week, Andrew Brown being shot in his car. When we have incidents like Breonna Taylor being shot, George Floyd being killed by police brutality, we have an opportunity to look within ourselves and to heal any sense of prejudice or bias that we find. Remembering our true nature can help us work to heal ourselves. And when we heal ourselves, then we can send healing and compassion out to the world. And our spiritual work within ourselves and for the world does affect the vibrational energy of the world. I want to share a video with you now. And this is our special music for today. Some of you may have thought, oh, Reverend Rick forgot special music. I've built it into the talk. And that is, the music is titled Time for a Change. The video, I will warn you, is 8 minutes and 46 seconds long. That's the symbolic time of police brutality that killed George Floyd on May 25th, 2020, 1 year ago this month. Watch this video and be aware of what message is being given to you. If you think that the video seems to be a little long, 8 minutes and 46 seconds. Recognize that this is how long George Floyd was not able to breathe.
Alive. You see a man will not breathing. I see a loved one that's not coming home. You just follow one procedure. I say your procedure's all wrong. Open your eyes. You've been desensitized for so long. We all don't need to rule, and we all damn sure need to belong. It's time for a change. It's time for a change. You see, a problem's not a problem until it's a problem for you. Just to remind you, privilege can blind you from the truth. Who are you now? Where is that courage of your youth? There's no superhero to emerge from out of your view. It's gotta be you. It's time for a change. It's time for a change. I'm asking you to do all you can do. You'll have to dig deep inside. We can all live on this marble of blue if we'll extinguish our pride. It's time for a change.
We want what you want, to raise our kids in peace.
It's time for a change.
We want what you want, to provide for our families.
It's time for a change.
We want what you want, to live free from unjust persecution.
It's time for a change.
We want what you want, to be treated equally, fair, and just.
It's time for a change.
We want what you want, for rules that oppress people like us to be lifted.
It's time for a change.
We want what you want, for systems designed to negatively impact our families to be eradicated.
It's time for a change.
We want what you want, to truly see this as the land of opportunity.
It's time for a change.
We want what you want, to witness our children grow into adults.
It's time for a change.
We want what you want, to play with our grandchildren and celebrate as they graduate from high school and
It's time
college.
for a change.
We want what you want, to to walk into a place of education and know it is truly used to educate.
It's time for a change.
We want what you want, for others to see the males in our lives as gentlemen.
It's time for a change.
Gentlemen with kind hearts and not as thugs and criminals.
It's time for a change.
We want what you want, to see the ladies who look like us as beautiful and deserving of equal rights.
It's time for a change.
Just like the ladies in your life.
It's time for a change.
We want what you want, equal pay, equal opportunity, and to know
It's time for a
you
change.
desire our presence at your professional table and not just tolerate it.
It's time for a change.
We want what you want, to know that the people carrying the gun has a desire to protect and not to kill.
Time for a change.
We want what you want, a place that our art of blackness be safe as it hangs in your space.
It's time for a change.
We want what you want, to know that your voice will speak against the wrongs and support the rights.
It's time for a change.
We want what you want. Nothing more and nothing less.
Time for a change. It's 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 time for a change. I can't breathe anymore. It's time for a change. I can't breathe. I can't breathe anymore. It's time for a change. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. It's time for a change. 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 It's time for a change.
So I hope that you got the message that we are all the same, and that as one human race, we all really want the same things. We're all created by the same Spirit, the same God. As Reverend Dr. Raymond Anderson wrote, we do not want to minimize a person's experience when they feel pain. We don't want to tell them your mom's death, your brother's murder served a purpose that will be determined by a higher power. and it's all good. That's using spiritual bypass, thinking that we are really better than someone else. We're saying that it's all good when it's really not all good. You see, in the physical world, we have pain, we have suffering, and we have tragedies. Can we sit with ourselves and with others and allow the mystery of the unknown? Can we allow it to be okay not to have an answer or an explanation for everything that happens? Are we willing to do our spiritual work to raise the vibration in the world? David Hawkins wrote the book Power versus Force. And in that book, he says the interconnected universe, every improvement that we make in this universe to our private world improves the world at large for everyone. Simple kindnesses to oneself and all that lives is the most powerful, transformational force of all. Vicki talked about, is it healing? Is it transformation? Yes, we can transform ourselves, heal ourselves, and thereby transform the world. According to David Hawkins, he calibrated the human consciousness from its lowest vibration, which is shame, to its highest vibration, which is enlightenment. He said higher consciousness radiates a beneficial and healing effect on the world. Using kinesthetic testing, Hawkins created a chart to explain in detail what the mystics have always known. Love is more powerful than hatred, and that the truth sets us free. As an example, one individual who raised her conscious calibration to 500, which is pure love, counterbalances, this is one individual raising her vibration, counterbalances 750,000 individuals who calibrated at below 200, which is the lowest positive calibration they could create. So increase your integrity, increase your understanding of yourself and the people around you, increase your capacity for compassion. And in doing that, you can change the world. Each one of us as individuals has that responsibility to make our world a better place through our living, through the lives we touch, and through the love and compassion that we share with those around us. In times of social unrest, we have the opportunity to apply the teachings of Ernest Holmes and others to find what is ours to do. We have the opportunity to use the principle of oneness and allow those uncomfortable topics to deepen us in our spiritual practice, to grow in our compassion, and to take divinely inspired action in the world. This week, your homework, if you choose to do it, is to take time in your own spiritual practice to look within and to shine that light of oneness on your beliefs, to see what prejudice or bias it's time for you to heal within yourself. When you understand this, when you live from your true nature, that oneness with all spirit and with all beings, you realize that there is nothing outside of God. Live a life of compassion for yourself and for others. Be willing to offer a listening ear, to hold a hand in silence, and allow someone to cry when they need to, and not to try to explain away someone's pain, or minimalize it because it makes us uncomfortable. Recognize there is a mystery in life and we can't always explain everything. But we all want the same things. We all want compassion, love, peace, joy in our lives. And these are gifts of the grace of God. We are one human family. We need to raise our vibration so that we live as one human family. Will you join me now in prayer? Taking a deep breath and breathing in the message of today, we relax and allow that message of unity, of oneness, of compassion to really resonate within our heart and our mind. So we open ourselves to the divine intelligence, to that true nature of God that is within each and every one of us. That nature that sees as unconditional love each and every individual. No matter the gender, the race, the ethnicity, the sexual orientation, the social or economic class, we are one human family, created by the one divine Spirit and expressing the multiplicity of the divine in the world. So we open ourselves to see the beauty in diversity and to embrace that and to commit for ourselves to be that powerful presence of love, of acceptance, to not try to give sweet Band-Aid answers when people are in pain, but to allow ourselves to sit and be the presence of God without even saying anything, offering that divine presence through ourselves. We change and raise that vibration in the world. We promote love, acceptance, harmony. So with great gratitude, knowing that this is the life that we are called to as spiritual beings, I release my word into the universal law that always says yes, that always affirms what it is we see and we desire. So we call for more peace. We call for tolerance and love, for compassion and grace to flow through each and every one of us. I release my word, and we seal it by saying together, and so it is. Bless you.
Now is our time of prosperity. And so if you'll notice, Miss Pat Ferguson is holding up the prosperity basket for your engaging. We so want to thank everybody for your tithes and gifts and everything you bring to the center each week. It truly allows us to do what we do. And as ever, if you check in the chat, there's information about how to give your offerings if you like. And then we have our prosperity affirmation. So I will say it once, and then if you all would say it with me. Abundance is what happens when you focus on joy. Taking a nice breath and making room for that to sink in. Abundance is what happens when I focus on joy. Thank you, everyone. Now I'm just going to take just a little pause there, and we're going to shift into announcements. And I have a couple of announcements that we planned for, and then after those two, I have another announcement that I want to share. I'm going to wait for Reverend Rick to get our lovely slides up. Okay, so first announcement, men's group is so vital and so exciting that they have expanded from meeting once a month to meeting twice a month. So you've heard that men's group meets on the first Thursday of each month, and now they are expanding. They will be meeting on the first and third Thursdays of each month at 6:30 in the evening. That's Eastern time. If you guys know men, or if there are men here present that come on Sundays that haven't engaged men's group yet, it is a lovely way to get support and communion. And I just encourage you to let us know if you'd like to try it. And you can do that by being in touch with me or with Vernon, and we'd be happy to get you connected. And our next class is coming up on Thursday, May the 13th, Spiritual Mind Treatment. This is gaining momentum, you guys. We have people that have been signing up, but there's plenty of room if you'd like to let Reverend Rick know. It is on the 5 steps of treatment, and certainly it's an 8-week class, and it will bring you to the point where you have this tool to use and get it integrated into your system. I so encourage anyone who would like to be using our practices in-depthly, please do let Reverend Rick know. And it's based on the book by John B. Waterhouse, and I do understand we've had people go and look for the book. When you go to search for the book, make sure that you get the version that says it's by John B. Waterhouse, so you've got the right version. And then the last announcement that I have for today, we have an update from Reverend Carolyn. As you guys know, her medical sabbatical has been about healing for her liver. And so today, actually, Carolyn and Tracy are going to be going to the Cleveland Clinic Hospital, and she is scheduled to have surgery tomorrow. So all of our prayers and intentions, and certainly all the work that Carolyn and her family have been doing, are coming to the point of fruition. And during sharing time, right after service today, if you'd like to stay, we will close sharing time with prayer for Reverend Carolyn and her family. And certainly within discussion time, anybody that has questions or anything particular that you'd like to bring, that's what we're here for.
Thank you, Vicki. And now for our benediction. Know that as you go from this place, you go guided, guarded, and protected. You are held under the umbrella of the Louisville Center for Spiritual Living. You are in that divine embrace. There is nowhere you can go this week that you are not surrounded by the love and the joy of Spirit. Go forth raising the vibration of the world by sharing your true nature with all of those around you. Be the compassion of Spirit this week. Many blessings. And so it is. And our closing song is Spirit Move.
There is no holding back. Power in the room right now, rising up as a force of love so high it can't come down. Every soul is a soul on fire, burning bright with the light of love. Here we are, open wide, there's no place we can't hide. We sing out, we sing. Sing out, we sing. Spirit move, our hands and feet, Spirit move. Everything, Spirit move. In the space between, Spirit river deep and wide, rolling out like a mighty flood. Love's filling every heart and pouring out of us. We're breaking down these walls, building everybody up. It's taking over now, there's no way it can stop.